All eyes on Hurricane Matthew tonight. The storm expected to make landfall on Florida's east coast sometime overnight or in the early morning hours. This is a quick look at Doppler radar. You can see the storm, the outer bands of the storm, and even almost close to the eye wall. They're starting to approach the state of Florida.
We've got some brand new video just into the newsroom. This is from Central Florida, Orlando. Not close to shore, right? Middle of the state, but you can see the wind. Those palm trees moving in the breezes there.
The deadly hurricane hitting parts of the Bahamas today, pounding the area with at least 130-mile-an-hour winds and torrential rain. This is the fiercest storm to hit the Caribbean in nearly a decade. We're just learning that Matthew has claimed nearly 300 lives in Haiti. We just got a new number tonight that the death toll is up to 283. In Nassau, in the Bahamas, the strong winds earlier today you could see palm trees truly buckling in the wind. Now, Nassau, as far as the Bahamas go, they're kind of out of the thick of it, but other parts of the Bahamas are not. They are dealing with the brunt of the storm as we speak. As many as 12 million U.S. residents are under hurricane warnings and hurricane watches right now as we speak. Our chief meteorologist, Derek Beasley, standing by now in the Weather Center. He's got the latest for us.
Derek?
Well, guys, we're still watching Matthew, which, as of the last advisory,
All right, so we want to give Derek a second. We're having an audio problem. He's going to check his microphone real quick. We've been on since 2:30 this afternoon, so we got to check some batteries. But we'll get with you in just a second there.
I think I'm good to go.
Oh, he's good. All right, let's go to Derek.
All right. You know, sometimes
It's live TV, my friends.
Sometimes those things do happen.
Sure.
As you see, Hurricane Matthew continues to make its way towards the coast. And really, all in southwest Florida, all really we've been dealing with is just some scattered showers just kind of rotating their way across the area. Actually, we're seeing less rain now than we did earlier. Now, I do want to turn your attention to the storm itself. And what we have going on here is what we call a double eye wall structure, where we actually have an inner eye and we also have the outer eye. The western edge of the outer eye is now approaching the coastal sections of Palm Beach County up towards Martin and St. Lucie County. So we're actually starting to see some of these sustained tropical storm force and even some hurricane force winds trying to get close to West Palm Beach now. So the entire storm is rotating around and moving generally off towards the north and west. But this inner eye has just been kind of wobbling around on the inside of it, as you can see there. But so we're going to likely continue to see these wobbles, if you will, with the track as it moves off towards the north and west. But it looks like the entire system, though, is making that steady track towards the northwest, right on track. The National Hurricane Center had this track locked in a couple of days in advance, and this is pretty much what is happening right now. But you can see a few bands of showers moving across Highlands County into Glades County. We're looking at some showers in the North Cape right now. We're also looking at a little bit of rain here, of course, with that band that is now starting to rotate inland. So this is some of what may be affecting areas in and around Lake Okeechobee here later on tonight, especially as the storm gets a little bit closer to the coast. What's also happening is with the eye we're actually having two different eyes, the inner eye and the outer eye. The outer eye actually is likely to become the dominant eye. So we're going to be looking at maybe the wind field expanding a little bit. And so those hurricane force winds may be expanding a little bit farther inland than what we were earlier forecasting. You can see the winds now sustained in Clewiston at 23. Some gusts getting up to 29, 30 miles per hour across parts of the area, but they haven't really gotten much higher than that. Here's a look at Matthew, and you see the eye showing up there just on the west end of Grand Bahama near Freeport, and it continues moving northwest, so it's right on track. You see there it is right there. Very powerful hurricane right now. The hurricane hunters have been out there still taking measurements inside the storm, and again the motion continues towards the northwest at about 13 miles per hour as of the 9 o'clock position update to 26.8 degrees north, 79.0 degrees west. Again, the hurricane is going to make a very close trek or proximity towards the Florida coast by tomorrow morning up near Cape Canaveral, Daytona Beach. This is going to be a really bad situation with storm surge inundation across the Space Coast, the First Coast, and up into sections of Georgia, which they have not seen anything like that in modern times as far as a storm of this magnitude heading up that way. So, of course, we've had Charlie here. We've had other storms that moved across South Florida. They haven't seen anything like that up there in modern times. So this is going to be a bad situation there. Hurricane warning remains in effect for, of course, areas towards the east. But notice that the tropical storm watch has been dropped now. It does not include Charlotte, Lee County. Collier County has been dropped out of the tropical storm watch. but does remain in effect for Sarasota County and DeSoto County. And there's the potential that DeSoto County and Arcadia could see some tropical storm force winds tonight into tomorrow morning as the circulation gets a little bit closer to the area. Tropical storm warning remains in effect, though, has been dropped for Collier County, but does still include Highlands, Glades, and into Hendry County. Here's the hurricane force wind field in the red just offshore, but the tropical storm force winds much larger, going to be spreading across the area as we go throughout the overnight hours, and then eventually pushing out of the region here by tomorrow. So we're going to see significant improvements. Latest computer model forecast using what we call the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh model. It updates every hour, and it gives you an idea of where this thing's going. And as you can see, by midnight tonight, we should be looking at the western edge of that larger eye wall beginning to push into areas of eastern sections of the lake, eastern sections of Lake Okeechobee. And this is where we could start to see some of those stronger winds by midnight and early tomorrow morning, getting over towards eastern Glades and eastern portions of Hendry County. Those are the areas in Highlands County. Those are the areas that I'm most concerned with the potential for stronger winds. Now watch what happens as the eye continues to track up the shore. Basically, it's going to go right up I-95. So this entire area is going to be getting blasted with hurricane force winds. And of course, on this side of the circulation, on the north side, is where you're going to get the water piling up and the potential for surge as it moves up towards the coast. So by 5 a.m., this thing's going to be lifting north of West Palm. By 9 o'clock in the morning, north of Fort Pierce, and pushing out of the area by then. Again, one last look at the wind field here. This is the storm right here, right about midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, right over sections of Indian River County, up around Martin and St. Lucie County. And notice the stronger winds there right near Lake Okeechobee. So Glades, Hendry County, that's what I'm most concerned about for the strongest winds. But everybody else, though, here across southwest Florida, dealing with winds 10 to 20, some gusts up to 30. But right now, it does not like the winds are going to get any stronger than that. Hence the reason why the Weather Service dropped the tropical storm watch for our part of the area. It does not look like we're going to see tropical storm winds sustained in this part of southwest Florida. The bigger concern, though, is going to be over towards Glades, Hendry, and into Highlands County. Guys, back over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Derek. We are joined now by Courtney Perna and Tony Sadiku. There are a lot of exotic names on this news desk.
We've only
right
been
now.
doing this since about 2:30 this afternoon.
And we want to hear your name because we're watching on our Facebook page right now.
Yes.
And you've had so many questions and comments, and we just like to talk to you directly. It's just easier this way instead of us guessing what you want to hear. So Courtney's been talking to you and now has got some questions to share with us.
That's right. Lots of activity on social media, as you can imagine. And you know, we focus on the east side of the state because that is where the brunt of the storm is. But a lot of people here in southwest Florida want to know what's the projected rainfall in our area. I mean, it's great news for us that the watch and the warning was canceled for the tropical storm. But I mean, are we expecting just a normal run-of-the-mill storm for us now?
It'll be a couple, periodic showers and thunderstorms. It won't be rainfall amounts that we're not used to seeing here.
Okay.
One thunderstorm in southwest Florida could dump maybe 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. So maybe between today and late Friday, we'll see maybe inland sections 2 to 3 inches projected, and some of our coastal sections 2 inches or less.
So nothing we can't handle. What about those high winds? Because I've actually had some residents who live in mobile homes asking, do they need to get out?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And for folks on the eastern coast, evacuations have been the story for them. Really, it's going to depend where you live and how comfortable you feel personally.
Gotcha.
If you live in Glades, Hendry County, those are where we expect the winds to be the strongest. Tropical storm warning is still in effect. That means winds could, be gusting in the excess of 39, 40 miles per hour.
Okay.
But really, unless you're living in a tent, I think it's really not going to be that big of an impact to where, I think it's going to be more on how you feel personally.
Okay, because there was questions about bridges, too. It sounds like the winds are not really going to be a factor. We're just kind of talking, for us, a normal storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Not worried about any bridges here locally.
But there was talk of tornadoes, though, earlier. People are still asking about that on our Facebook page.
That's great, and it's really going to be dependent on where people live. A lot of folks on the eastern side will have to, be very watchful for the isolated tornado threat, especially when hurricanes move on land. You have that increased risk. But for us in southwest Florida, minimal to none.
And a lot of people are actually asking about, science-based questions, which I really have no idea. So I'm so glad you're here, Tony. So Jacob Palmer wanted to know if the warm Caribbean water can affect, good or bad, the strength of Matthew coming in on us.
That's a great question. And by the way, we always look at warm waters. That's usually the fuel for these tropical systems to not only develop, but to stay, to stay strong. Anywhere from 80, degrees Fahrenheit is a good amount of good temperature for these tropical systems to stay sustained. For this particular one, yeah, we're not worried about water temperature out into the Caribbean, out into the Atlantic. They're warm enough. But what we're going to be watching for, if we're looking at weakening, will be if this interacts with land a little bit, if it interacts with some wind shear. Those kinds of things will be what will likely weaken this thing.
And we're hearing about this double eye wall, and people keep asking me about it on our Facebook page, and I keep telling them I have to ask the experts. So it looks different a little bit. The eye looks different on the radar than it has in the past.
Absolutely, and a lot of times we watch for these sorts of things to happen. You hear Derek, talking about, oh, it's got an inner eye, it's got an outer eye.
What does it all mean,
Tony?
Term, what does it all mean?
I think I heard concentric. Was that what it was?
That is
concentric eyeball. Fancy. Derek's all fancy. Break it down for us. What does Mr. Fancy Pants mean?
All right, what does he mean? So a lot of times with major tropical systems, major hurricanes, you kind of see this happening. Still a lot of research being done to understand exactly why this happens, but usually when the tropical systems, the eye gets a little bit too small, has trouble staying organized, it'll kind of need some room to wiggle around, so you kind of have this outer eye building. And then a lot of times what will happen at that point is, as it's happening, you'll likely see the storm weaken a little bit. So that's still indication of a healthy system, but what we'll likely see here is as that happens and it interacts with land, it's likely not going to stay a Category 4. So that's what
that's really good news. And I think that it's good news for people that were asking about the northern states too. They're probably in the clear, right?
Northern states, definitely.
Okay, that's good. Because I did have that question. People are worried about their friends and family. Thank you so much for answering those.
Absolutely.
And of course, we have the gallery, too, a photo gallery of some of the damage here and on the East Coast on fox4now.com.
All right, keep those questions coming. Courtney talking to you on Facebook. It's kind of like a radio call-in show. You talk to Courtney first, then you get the weather experts at Fox 4 will respond to you. In the meantime, you can get our Storm Shield 4 mobile app right now. You'll get push alerts, up-to-date information, customized for the weather conditions in your part of Southwest Florida.
All right, and one of the other things that a lot of people are asking about when it comes to social media, are there classes tomorrow? Is there school tomorrow? So let's just break it down. We're going to get right to it. Schools in DeSoto, Hendry, and Glades County canceled tomorrow. This is all because of the storm. But if you live in Charlotte County, Collier County, or Lee County, school is open. Lee County also telling us originally they had canceled after-school activities, extracurricular activities, any sporting events. Those are on tomorrow as well. Now, as for the local universities and colleges, classes are canceled for FGCU. FSW campuses in Glades and Hendry County are closed tomorrow, but FSW campuses in Lee, Charlotte, and Collier are open. So if you want any of this information, if I went too quickly for you, it's on our website as well, fox4now.com/hurricane. Lee County's Emergency Operations Center partially activating itself for the next 24 hours. And this is so that they can open shelters for people fleeing from Florida's East Coast. Lee County is not, of course, in the direct path of Matthew, but Lee County will experience some strong winds and rain associated with the storms. And again, they did this so they could open the shelters, as we've seen lots of people from the East Coast trying to get hotel rooms. They are full, on I-75 from Collier County up past Lee County. So a lot of people resorting to the shelters, nearly 200 at Alico alone.
City of Cape Coral parks and recreation facilities closing earlier tonight because of the storm. They closed at 7. The yacht club staying open for the next 15 minutes because they already had an event scheduled there. They wanted to accommodate it. The city will make the call on whether the parks stay open tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. In the meantime, our special coverage of Hurricane Matthew continues right after this. You don't have to wait for a newscast just to hear the news that's important to you.
Fox4now.com and the Fox 4 app are right in your pocket, keeping you in the know.
Don't let the weather rain on your day. Get the Fox 4 Storm Shield forecast so you can plan ahead.
When there's construction or traffic congestion, we'll keep you from running late.
Looking for free activities for your family? See where the fun is in your area.
Fox4now.com and the Fox 4 app.
In your corner for everything Southwest Florida.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. Hospital horror stories.
Like it was my fault. Like I chose that surgeon.
Wrong site surgeries. A growing problem in Florida. And a well-kept secret.
Shouldn't the public know more about these?
A Four in Your Corner investigation asks why doctors aren't facing consequences. And why you're being kept in the dark.
We have a problem.
I just don't want him to think that he's any different than any other child.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. If you want breaking news before breakfast, day-part weather before your workout, then Fox 4 Morning News gets your day going.
With your first look at what happened while you were sleeping.
And the breaking news that's important to you.
Police are on the scene with
Fox 4 Morning News answers your questions that start your morning every day.
Questions like, what's the weather at the bus stop? Or when will I need my umbrella?
And how to avoid those traffic troubles.
It's morning news for morning people. Fox 4 Morning News.
Oh my God, our roof's gone.
We got hit by the tornado.
We're sending people as fast as possible, okay?
Fox 4 Storm Shield keeps you safe from the worst wicked weather.
Make sure you take shelter.
Advanced weather radar tracking technology with accuracy to pinpoint your neighborhood street.
Some flash flooding as these storms.
Fox 4 Storm Shield accurately alert you before severe storms strike. On air, online, and on the go. Fox 4 Storm Shield, keeping you safe from the storm.
For In Your Corner, continuing our coverage of Hurricane Matthew as it is getting closer to the state of Florida tonight. Our Deborah Souverain has been live in Clewiston all night. She's been at some of the shelters there, including Clewiston Middle, giving us kind of a look at what Clewiston is looking at, as it is one of the areas that Derek has said is going to see some effects from this storm. So let's go check in with Deborah now and see how things are looking out there. Deborah?
Amy, things have been up and down. We've seen gusts of wind come by, bands of rain, and then things will calm down a little bit. Now is one of those times where things have calmed down just a bit. The winds have picked up a little bit from the last time we checked in with you guys, but again, still very calm here. I just want to give you a look of the palm trees to kind of get an idea of just how strong those winds are. Not too crazy. We're right outside of Clewiston Middle School, which is one of 2 shelters in Hendry County. I spoke to Red Cross officials here. They tell me that they have about 275 people here. They can still accommodate over 150 others. But right now, everything's very calm. They describe the conditions inside as comfortable. So it's not packed at all. If people do still want to leave their homes and come here, they have the opportunity to do so. If this place sees too much people, they do have the opportunity to open up Clewiston High School. But Red Cross officials tell me that that does not appear to be the case at the moment. So it seems as though everything is pretty calm as of now. But again, Hendry County is in a tropical storm warning until 4:30 in the morning. So there's still a lot of time ahead of us before we see some of that severe weather come in through because of Matthew. So we're going to stay out here for a little bit longer. You can see the wind picking up now as I'm talking to you, and this is the type of gust I'm talking about. We'll see just a gust of wind come by like this, and then it'll calm down a bit. But again, tropical storm warning until 4:30 in the morning, so we're expecting things to get a little bit more dicey as the night goes on into the early morning hours. So we'll keep you updated as much as we can as long as conditions remain safe out here for us. And for now, we're going to send it back to you. We're live in Clewiston. Deborah Souverain, Fox 4. In Your Corner.
All right, thank you so much, Deborah. And you saw that wind gust kind of come through. You could hear it a little bit in Deborah's microphone as she was giving us that report there. We want to go check in now on the East Coast, kind of draw the contrast there. Our Lisa Greenberg has been live in West Palm Beach all night, where conditions have continued to get worse. Remember, Governor Scott called this storm a monster, so it's leaving parts of the Grand Bahamas, and some portions of eastern Florida are experiencing tropical storm force winds and things like that now. So let's go check in with Lisa and see how things are looking there. Lisa?
Gusts are getting stronger and stronger, and it's certainly gotten much wetter out here. You can see my jacket is completely soaked through, my hat is completely soaked through. And if you take a look at this lake, this is Clear Lake right off the coast of West Palm Beach. You can see the wind actually blowing the water toward this direction. The wind is like bouncing off the water almost. You can see it very clearly. That's what we're dealing with out here. Just in the last half hour, you can feel that things have gotten much more intense. It's certainly strengthened out here. The trees have been blowing like crazy. Look over there. You can see there's just a little snapshot of what we've seen. It was much worse just a few minutes ago, but the wind and the rain have gotten stronger as this storm moves closer and closer to this area. This area has not been evacuated, but you can see there's hardly anyone around. There's hardly any cars. There's no people walking around. Areas just north of here along the coast have been evacuated, and those people have been flocking to the local shelters, mainly middle schools and high schools that are being used for Red Cross shelters. They're being taken care of there, given some storm meals, given some place to sleep to ride out the storm, and they say that they're not too nervous. They just want to make sure that they and their families and their friends all stay safe. They're not too concerned about their homes. They say all of that is fixable, it's all replaceable. So at this point, they're just hunkering down in those shelters and waiting. Again, this area has not been evacuated. Everyone's already inside their homes bracing for Hurricane Matthew. We'll check in with you guys in a little bit. For now, we're live in West Palm Beach. Lisa Greenberg, Fox 4, in your corner.
I thank you, Lisa, for that look at what things were looking like in West Palm Beach earlier this evening. 4 in your corner also checking in with FPL tonight. And they did tell us just a couple hours ago that about 90 Lee County homes did not have power. 170 homes had lost power, but they restored that. So about 260 affected. And they say all of those power outages were weather related. Also, FPL is expecting a total of about 2.5 million people to be affected by Hurricane Matthew. That's across the state we're talking about now, mostly on the East Coast. Officials with Florida Power and Light say they're getting ready to go to work. FPL has spent more than $2 billion putting in these concrete poles instead of wood poles over the last few years to make it a little bit easier to restore your power, ideally more quickly. FPL also has 12,000 workers ready to go to respond to outages wherever they happen in the state. They'll also be providing county-by-county outage updates every hour on their website. And you can check that out for yourself right now if you go to fpl.com/power tracker. And if you need to report an outage, go ahead and call FPL's hotline. That's 1-800-448-8243. A lot of people in Southwest Florida and the other coast bracing for those outages. And if FPL or LCEC or whoever your utility is doesn't get to it quite fast enough, that means you might fire up the generator if you've got one. But before you do, 4 in your corner's Tony Sadiku is showing you how to use them safely.
The aftermath of a hurricane or tropical storm in Southwest Florida could mean long periods without power. But while generators can be useful to get the essentials up and running, it's important to know how to operate one safely.
It's absolutely the most dangerous part of the generators is the gas that the carbon monoxide they give off.
Nicknamed the silent killer, carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas that can be deadly within minutes. Deputy Chief Richard Scott with Bonita Springs Fire Rescue says that's why it's important to be aware of your surroundings if you ever decide to use a generator.
One of the problems that people do is they put these generators in their homes, they put them in their garages, or even too close to your house where you have an open window or door, and if the wind direction's right, it can accumulate in your house. And by the time that you realize that you are having effects of carbon monoxide, it may be too late.
It's also important to know the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning.
You're becoming lethargic, you have a sudden headache, you're not feeling quite well, you might have chest pains. You do need to exit the home immediately, get to a well-ventilated open air area, and dial 911.
To protect yourself from the dangers of carbon monoxide, you want to keep the generator at least 20 to 25 feet away from your home and never operate one inside your home or garage. A carbon monoxide detector, which can be purchased at any department store, can also be a life-saving item to have.
Especially when you're using things like a generator that can emit that poison, that gas, it's very important that your home is detecting this.
One more thing to keep in mind, go ahead and be sure to use a heavy-duty outdoor extension cord to prevent any possibility of an electrical fire.
All right, we want to give you a live look right now. This is the surf you can see in Jacksonville. Things are starting to kick up there as Hurricane Matthew starts to leave the Bahamas, and head toward the coast of Florida. It still is going to be several hours before the eye, if you will, is close to potentially making landfall in Florida or paralleling the coast on the way up. Jacksonville is one of the areas that Governor Rick Scott said just recently, this is a monster storm. It's not too late to evacuate. Dozens of shelters open throughout the state, including in Vero Beach. And that's where we find Chris Stewart. He's giving us a look at what the wind and rain are like there. Chris?
And Kelly, here right in the parking lot of the Indian River Mall, and the rain has been increasing really by the minute. And you look behind me here, we'll show you the parking lot. We have been having some pretty decent gusts of wind here right now, but definitely falling in buckets here in the parking lot of the Indian River Mall. And you take a look up and you can just look. Really, first, let's go to the palm trees there. If you can even see them at this point, they're swaying back and forth as these gusts are coming in and the rain coming down. We actually had a little bit of difficult time about 10 minutes ago trying to get on air just because the rain was interfering with our signal. It's certainly wet, so we've been trying to keep the lens clean as well, as you see right there. But let's take another look up, if you can, at the light here in the parking lot, and that can just give you an idea of just the rain that continues to come down where we are at this point. And as you look at the clock, 9 o'clock, that is when Indian River County says the bridges have been closed. We were there just a couple of hours ago, and still we're seeing people over by the beach, and hopefully the case is that they have left that area at this point, because I can tell you, as strong as the wind is where we are right now, and as much as the rain is coming down, it was increased even more there, as you see the lens continuing to get damp here as the rain to fall. But definitely conditions that are deteriorating by the minute where we are here at the Indian River Mall here in Vero Beach, as we send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Chris. Powerful images being released tonight showing the intense devastation left behind in Haiti after Hurricane Matthew ravaged that country. The United Nations is now calling this the worst humanitarian crisis that has hit Haiti since that 2010 earthquake. And of course, the country's been besieged by crises over the years. Thousands of people died during the earthquake. As of tonight, the death toll in Haiti from Hurricane Matthew has now risen to 283, and they expect the number to go higher. They're still looking for bodies in some cases. It ripped through the country, packing winds of more than 100 miles an hour. It pummeled towns like this one, farmlands, resorts, as well as villages. Hundreds of thousands of people taking cover as walls collapsed, and those mudslides buried buildings. They're heavily deforested, so when the rains come, they get some really bad mudslides that you don't see on the other side of the island, Dominican Republic there. A United Nations spokesperson saying tonight at least 350,000 people in Haiti alone need immediate assistance.
And as Hurricane Matthew heads for the eastern side of our state, it is leaving major destruction not only in Haiti, as Patrick showed you, but also in Cuba. This is what it looked like after the storm went through there, with torrential rains and very powerful winds. This is the eastern city of Baracoa that you're looking at. Dozens of homes there are destroyed, and the state media, in fact, says that the roads to the city you're looking at here have been blocked by the storm. So that's leaving a lot of the people here just cut off. The storm surge so strong in this area. Think about this, that this shipping container, you just saw that big maroon shipping container. Those things are huge and very heavy. It was lifted and thrown several blocks because of the storm surge there, lifted by the water. So if that gives you an idea of the devastation there in Cuba. All right, we do now want to turn to Patrick.
Indian River County, we've got Darcy Jackson there in Vero Beach, where she's looking at the town, which looks very empty tonight. Take a look.
From what we've seen here at Vero Beach, it's a ghost town. All the roads are empty, businesses have closed, and that includes grocery stores and gas stations. We're here at the Freshman Learning Center, where folks are hunkering down. The Red Cross tells us folks are in good spirits for now here. They've got about 300 inside already, and there's at least 4 other shelters throughout the county. Now, there is going to be a police presence here, and there will be for the rest of the night. The school board is also working to provide food for everyone through the cafeteria, and they say that they will continue to accept folks throughout the night here until they get the call from emergency management saying that travel is too dangerous in town, and that's when they'll shut the doors and they will reopen them after Matthew has passed.
All right, thank you, Darcy. We want to let you know where the shelters are in Southwest Florida, just in case you're in one of our inland counties, or maybe you've got friends and family coming over from Southwest Florida, from the other coast to Southwest Florida. You don't want them to stay with you the whole time, right? So you can just direct them to the shelters. Clewiston Middle School, LaBelle Middle School. We've also got Alico Arena. The Estero Recreation Center is pet friendly, so make a note of that one. And the Harold Avenue Park and Recreation Center is also available tonight.
All right, just an update. Disney World in Orlando is closing early tonight. It already did at 5 p.m. for Hurricane Matthew. The theme park will remain closed. If you had plans to go tomorrow, don't. It is closed tomorrow for the Category 4 storm as it approaches the Sunshine State. Now, no decision has been made yet about Saturday's operations at the park. The closure affects theme parks, water parks, Disney Springs, mini golf courses, ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, including Universal. Our coverage is just getting started, so make sure to stick with us. We've got much more coming up. You're watching Fox 4 News. We'll see you in a minute.
Over 4,500 new Kias available, Florida. Nowhere in the world does anyone have the inventory that Facillo has, whether it's Merritt Island, Wesley Chapel, Cape Coral, or the new Port Charlotte store. Caroline, tell them about the party we're throwing when they come in to buy one of these beautiful automobiles.
When you purchase or lease your new Kia from any Fusillo store in the state of Florida, whether you're in Cape Coral, Port Charlotte, Wesley, Chapel, Merritt Island, it doesn't matter, 6 days, 5 nights in Mexico, all inclusive.
It's huge.
For anyone who missed our incredibly popular 60-month interest-free finance offer, Rooms to Go is bringing it back for 6 days only. Now through Monday, Columbus Day. It's 6 days to get beautiful Rooms to Go furniture, big savings, and finance for 60 months with payments starting as low as $10 a month, interest-free. Just $10 a month. No games, no gimmicks. 6 days to shop, 60 months to finance interest-free. Through Monday, Columbus Day. Only at Rooms to Go.
That was invigorating. You're probably wondering why I just carved a giant wooden tiger. Well, the answer is that a real one would maul me. I've crafted Dr. Whiskers here as a visual aid to show you that should you visit the lot, CarMax associates will not pounce like tigers because people don't like that. Come here to buy a car, Dr. Whiskers won't pounce. Nobody will.
Oh my God, our roof's gone.
We got hit by the tornado.
We're sending people as fast as possible, okay?
Fox 4 Storm Shield keeps you safe from the worst wicked weather.
Make sure you take shelter.
Advanced weather radar tracking technology with accuracy to pinpoint your neighborhood street.
Some flash flooding as these storms.
Fox 4 Storm Shield accurately alert you before severe storms strike. On air, online, and on the go. Fox 4 Storm Shield, keeping you safe from the storm.
You may have to strain to hear a little bit here, but that's how windy it is in West Palm Beach right now. 4 in your corners, Lisa Greenberg, live there to show you what the conditions have become right now. Lisa?
Maybe it is 9:30 and things are really starting to pick up out here. The wind is getting so strong that I'm actually having to tense up my muscles to stay standing. The rain is coming sideways, if you can see it. If you take a look over by that streetlight, you can see the rain a little bit better. It's literally going sideways here in the parking lot of the Marriott Hotel. We're in downtown West Palm where people are packing this hotel to seek refuge from the storm wherever they came from. Their areas were either evacuated or they just felt like they were safer here at this hotel, so they decided to come here and kind of seek shelter. This is just one of the many places that that's happening in this area because this is one of the areas that has not been evacuated. The areas more north of here and along the coast, those are those big areas that have been evacuated that are going to see more of the effects of Matthew. But as you can see right now, it is extremely windy and rainy out here. Our chief meteorologist, Derek Casey, says the winds here can be surging or gusting up to 70 miles an hour now. So that's kind of what we're facing. It's calming down a little bit right now as we're talking, though. So that's kind of nice. It's a little right through my legs. I'm trying to stand here and continue these live reports. Basically, we have seen hundreds of linemen going into this hotel. Last report I told you was 100. There's hundreds more that were coming in to prepare for the storm. They're going to be fixing the power lines tomorrow because they are expected to lose power in this area. We're going to wrap things up and continue to bring you live updates later, so stick with Fox 4. For now, reporting live on West Palm Beach, Lisa Greenberg, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, it is definitely difficult to hear Lisa, and if you could kind of make it out, I just asked Derek, she said 70-mile-an-hour winds. I just checked with him. He said that sounds about right, so definitely picking up there. And she also said that area is not one that has been evacuated so far. The areas north of her have been, so we'll continue to check in with Lisa. Maybe she can get something to block the wind a little bit, so hopefully you guys can hear her a little bit better. I do want to come back to Southwest Florida now, where obviously shelters are open. It is not too late to evacuate. If you're feeling a little uncomfortable, perhaps you have family or friends on the East Coast, we have room at our shelters in Hendry, Glades, Lee, and Charlotte County. 4 in your corners, Jillian Idle is at Florida Gulf Coast University at Alico Arena, where 200 people are already inside at last check. So, Jillian, we wanted to check in with you and see how things are going there.
Well, that's right. Good evening, Amy. So about 250 people now at this shelter, and there are people still walking in right now, and there's families still coming from the East Coast. Now, there's people here who've been here all afternoon saying they've been seeking shelter from the East Coast. They said that some of them began packing yesterday, and then some of them started today. Now, they've been bringing everything from blankets and pillows to personal belongings, some important things such as family photos in here. Now, we have been also talking to some volunteers at this arena, the Alico Arena, one of the shelters that people are able to evacuate to. They said pretty much right now it's very quiet inside in the arena. Lots of families in there, lots of young children trying to sleep. They have anything from blow-up mattresses to also tents that they've put up inside, and they're welcoming any kind of stuff like that you people want to bring inside. So they said it's very quiet right now. Obviously, people exhausted from whether they started packing yesterday or trying to get on the road today. But of course, we have been talking to people as far south as Miami who've evacuated to this coast, as well as up and down the Treasure Coast. They all say they are just trying to seek shelter. They're a little nervous with a few having loved ones still on that coast. They've been keeping in contact with them throughout the day today, and they say they plan to do so throughout the night as well. But we are trying to talk to some people who are coming and going. They do let you, if you do check in to a shelter, they do let you get a wristband, and then also you're free to go, whether that's grabbing food or anything you need, and then coming back to the shelter to sleep. So, of course, that we will keep you updated both on air and online at fox4now.com with any updates we receive. But for now, I'll send it back to you, Amy, in the studio.
All right, we're still tracking Matthew, and as you saw from Lisa Greenberg's live shot over at West Palm Beach, they're starting to get into the western edge of that eye wall there, the outer eye wall. While here in Southwest Florida, we're really not seeing much at all. We're just seeing a few scattered showers across the area. Really, the only areas that are seeing some heavier rain are closer to the center of circulation, which is over Lake Okeechobee, heading over towards Glades County. Looks like some rain's going to be headed over there here very shortly. But there's the eye right there. And again, this system has what's called concentric eye walls, or basically one eye wall in the middle and a larger eye wall on the outer side here. So we have double eye wall structure here with this particular storm. And likely this inner eye wall is eventually going to go away, and this will become the dominant eye wall. But you get the idea. You can see some of these bands that are now starting to rotate on shore here through sections of Palm Beach County and then getting up into Martin and St. Lucie counties up towards Fort Pierce. So we're starting to get some of those tropical storm force winds. And we're likely going to see some hurricane force wind gusts, especially as you saw from Lisa's live shot there. She reported about a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. That sounds about right with some of these bands that are going to be coming on in. So the stronger winds are going to be closer to the center of circulation. So again, a little closer inspection to this band that is now moving across Lake Okeechobee, heading up towards Okeechobee, right now in Okeechobee County. And then this is going to be moving south and westward here towards areas around Buckhead Ridge and out around Moorhaven and Clewiston. And we could see some gusts upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour with that as it pushes on through. Looks like Belglade seeing it at the present time. Winds across most of the area have been running anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 miles an hour. Some areas seeing winds up to about 25. Clewiston sustained wind at 22 out of the northwest, and gusts approaching 30 miles an hour in Fort Myers right now. 22-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Naples. And you can see how the eye is really beginning to show up here as it continues tracking off towards the north and west. This big area of red right around the eye is what we call the central dense overcast. It's just the big area of thunderstorms that's wrapping around the circulation center, and you can see how it just basically looks like a truck tire and is heading to the north and west, indicating a very, very organized system moving just to the west of the western edge of Grand Bahama here, right around Freeport. Went through Freeport about 2 hours ago and now continues to move northwest. Looks like it has its eyes set right now, no pun intended, headed right towards the coast of Florida, the east coast of Florida. As you can see here, the hurricane hunters are making their way right now. Looks like the plane's flying right over the Fox 4 viewing area right now. You can see it right over Collier County. It's going to be rounding the bend here, and it's going to eventually be flying into the storm, getting some more measurements. As of the 9 o'clock position update, maximum sustained winds at 130, so the winds have dropped off a little bit from earlier, from 140 down to 130. Northwest winds moving northwest, I should say, at 13. And it looks like, again, the pressure holding just below 940 millibars, indicating a fairly powerful system. So here's the latest forecast track. This will be updated at 11 o'clock, so we're going to get that new update here shortly, at least in the next hour and a half or so. But you can see the track getting very close to the Florida coast here tomorrow morning. So there's Cape Canaveral right there in the Brevard County, and you can see it's just going to basically parallel and track up the coast as potentially a Category 4, Category 3 hurricane, and we're going to see a massive amount of water being pushed inland on the north side of the circulation as it tracks up towards the coast, and that's really going to be one of the bigger threats, other than the fact that we're going to see damaging winds out of this going up the east coast, but also a potentially deadly storm surge that's going to be going all the way up towards the Georgia coast. Hurricane warning remains in effect now. It has been dropped for Broward County, but now includes Palm Beach County and points northward, also includes Okeechobee County and Lake Okeechobee. The tropical storm watch has been dropped for most of southwest Florida, still includes DeSoto County and Sarasota County, and we're looking at the tropical storm warning that has been dropped for Collier County, but still includes Glades, Hendry and Glades County, and up towards Highlands County as well. This is where we could see some of those stronger wind gusts here later on tonight as the core of the hurricane gets a little bit closer to the coast. The red indicating the hurricane force wind field, the yellow indicating the tropical storm force winds. We do expect that across the tropical storm warning area here for tonight into tomorrow. Conditions should rapidly improve, though, as we go throughout the afternoon hours tomorrow. The HRRR, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh Model, it's a model that we use in the short term, and basically it updates every hour, so this gives you a good idea where the eye of the hurricane is going to end up going. You see by 12:30, the western edge of the eye wall should be moving through sections of Martin and St. Lucie County, Indian River County, all the way through Palm Beach County, and then tracking right up towards the coast here. And this is where we could start to see some of those tropical storm force winds and potentially some gusts up to hurricane force, getting into areas around Glades County here and the western edge of Lake Okeechobee once we start getting the eye a little bit closer to the coast. So by 4:30 in the morning, we could see some of the strongest winds right in this corridor here out towards Moorhaven and LaBelle, and even out towards areas like Clewiston. And what we're likely going to be seeing is a more westerly wind here, especially on the south end of the lake by the time we head towards tomorrow morning. And then things are going to start to improve here as we go throughout the morning hours and the storm begins moving northward. One last look at the wind field. You can see how the arrows are kind of spinning around there, showing the storm wrapping up. The purples indicate the strongest winds, and that westerly wind will turn more southwesterly as the system moves northward, and things should improve again. The winds are calming down, and we actually may see some sunshine across parts of southwest Florida as we go throughout the afternoon tomorrow. So again, the areas we're still honing in on: Glades, Hendry County. In the next few hours, especially after midnight through tomorrow morning, that's where we could see some strong tropical storm force winds, maybe some gusts near hurricane force, especially for the eastern parts of Glades and Hendry County and up into Highlands County. But then after that, things look fine. Around the rest of southwest Florida, 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, maybe some gusts over 30 like what we've been seeing, but I don't anticipate the winds getting much stronger than that across the rest of the area, hence the reason why the tropical storm watches and warnings have been canceled for part of the area. Guys?
All right, thank you, Derek. Of course, we want to give you a reminder. You got to be very careful when you go out on the roads tonight, even in, the western side of our viewing area, the coastal areas. We're going to get wind gusts, Derek said, so you have to be very careful out there. Four Corners' Adam Pinsker, we want to go to him live now. He's in our breaking news tracker. It's that car that you can see live pictures from the road, and he's actually standing out live. It looks like there's an accident behind him. He's on Pine Island Road in Cape Coral. We don't know if this is storm related, do we, Adam?
No, Amy, we don't know the circumstances of this accident yet, but I can tell you that the 2000 block of Northeast Pine Island Road is shut down in both directions. That's by Hibiscus Drive on the other side of Del Prado. I'm going to step out of the way for a moment to give you a best look at this situation. That white vehicle is from the medical examiner's office. We believe that there is at least one fatality because we saw a tarp over the vehicle behind that. Off to my right, there's two cars, one upside down. As a result of this accident, it occurred about an hour ago. The manager of the Walmart told me she heard a loud noise from inside the store. She went outside, saw a bunch of smoke. She ended up calling 911. We had some young kids here a little while ago. They said that one of their classmates was involved in this accident, was taken to the hospital. We have no official confirmation from the Cape Coral Police Department. We do know that there's at least one fatality, and this road is shut down in both directions at Hibiscus Drive. So if you're coming out this way tonight, please avoid it. We're live in Cape Coral. Adam Pinsker, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you so much, Adam, and we will continue to keep an eye on what's going on in southwest Florida as well as the east coast of Florida as Hurricane Matthew inches a little bit closer. Our special coverage of the storm continues right after this. You don't have to wait for a newscast just to hear the news that's important to you.
Fox4Now.com and the Fox 4 app are right in your pocket, keeping you in the know.
Don't let the weather rain on your day. Get the Fox 4 Storm Shield forecast so you can plan ahead.
When there's construction or traffic congestion, we'll keep you from running late.
Looking for free activities for your family? See where the fun is in your area.
Fox4Now.com and the Fox 4 app.
In your corner for everything Southwest Florida.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. Hospital horror stories.
Like it was my fault. Like I chose that surgeon.
Wrong site surgeries. A growing problem in Florida. And a well-kept secret.
Shouldn't the public know more about these?
A 4 in Your Corner investigation asks why doctors aren't facing consequences. And why you're being kept in the dark.
We have a problem.
I just don't want him to think that he's any different than any other child.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. If you want breaking news before breakfast, day-part weather before your workout, then Fox 4 Morning News gets your day going.
With your first look at what happened while you were sleeping.
And the breaking news that's important to you.
Police are on the scene with
Fox 4 Morning News answers your questions that start your morning every day.
Questions like, what's the weather at the bus stop? Or when will I need my umbrella?
and how to avoid those traffic troubles.
It's morning news for morning people. Fox 4 Morning News.
Oh my God, our roof's gone.
We got hit by the tornado.
We're sending people as fast as possible, okay?
Fox 4 Storm Shield keeps you safe from the worst wicked weather.
Make sure you take shelter.
Advanced weather radar tracking technology with accuracy to pinpoint your neighborhood street.
Some flash flooding as these storms.
Fox 4 Storm Shield accurately alert you before severe storms strike. On air, online, and on the go. Fox 4 Storm Shield, keeping you safe from the storm.
Our special coverage continuing now of Hurricane Matthew. 4 in the Corner's Todd Walker showing you what things were like before the sun went down in Vero Beach earlier this evening.
Good evening to you. The waiting game is on for Hurricane Matthew to make itself known here in Florida. We're standing by in Vero Beach between the feeder bands right now on the outer edges of Hurricane Matthew. So every once in a while we will see the winds pick up and then sometimes they do drop off. The sky is still pretty bright right now. Not a ton of rain coming down, but we know that is going to change. Hurricane Matthew is expected to be a Category 4 storm, possibly strengthening more than that, maybe up to a Category 5 when it does come here to Florida. It may not officially make landfall. That happens when the eye wall crosses over land. It's supposed to skirt right up the coast of Florida, so 10 miles to the west could mean extreme devastation. 10 miles to the east could mean not so much of an effect here in Florida, so a lot of people are waiting to see exactly what's going to happen. Here in Vero Beach, Florida, it's a ghost town. There's no one out here right now. Everyone's hunkering down or has gotten out of town. President Obama has declared a state of emergency for the entire state of Florida as they do get ready for this storm. It will be moving in, the brunt of it, in the overnight hours, so a lot of people going to stay inside and can only listen as it comes in the dark to hear what happens, and they will see in the morning what Matthew has left behind. In Vero Beach, Florida, I'm Todd Walker. Back to you.
All right, and a lot of people deciding to evacuate from the East Coast and head to Southwest Florida. There are lots of shelters open, and it is not too late. If you've decided, maybe you have friends or family on the East Coast that they want to get out, these shelters are open and they have a lot of space. Here's a list of all the shelters across Southwest Florida. There's Clewiston Middle School, LaBelle Middle School, Alico Arena, Estero Rec Center, which is pet friendly, so if you have a pet, that's the one you're going to want to go to, and Harold Ave Park Rec Center. That one is in Charlotte County. So again, these are the list of the shelters. 4 in Your Corner's Deborah Souverain is live now at Clewiston Middle School, one of those shelters tonight. She's been there all day to give us a feel of what it's like out there tonight. Deborah?
Amy, as you mentioned, many of the shelters are still accepting people, and that's the same case here at Clewiston Middle School. They have about 275 people here so far. That's the count I got when I last checked with Red Cross officials about half an hour ago, and they still have room for a lot more people. So if there are anyone at home that may think they want to just leave and come here and hunker down a little bit until after the tropical storm warning is over at 4:30 in the morning, they are still able to do so. Right now, conditions have remained the same from from the last time we checked in with you guys about a half an hour ago. The only difference I've noticed is that the winds have become more consistent. So we're still getting those gusts of winds, but now they're a lot more consistent. The downtime in between those gusts have definitely minimized. We haven't seen much rain just yet. We just spoke with a Red Cross official who was saying the kids inside are now starting to calm down after kind of being all hyped up on the sugar and juice that they had inside. So right now, everyone seems to be pretty calm, just anticipating what Matthew may bring to this area here. We're just hoping that, as many people are hoping, that it won't be severe. Right now, again, the gusts have become more consistent. We're seeing just a little bit of rain just started just now. I feel coming down now. I wonder if you can, even if we just show you a shot of the palm trees, you just kind of see the wind is blowing, but it's nothing too severe. A lot of people just kind of just hanging out right now outside of the shelter, just waiting until things become more severe. Right now, it's not an issue to be outside, so people are just kind of out and about until things become a bit more severe, and then that's when Red Cross officials will tell everyone to go inside, and then they'll kind of lock up and go into emergency mode. But right now, things are calm. Everyone is just waiting to see what Matthew will bring. So we're going to stay here and keep you guys updated on whatever changes. So for now, I'm going to send it back to you, Amy, live in Clewiston. Deborah Souverain, Fox 4. In your corner.
Thank you, Deborah. We've been getting a lot of questions from you on Facebook. Courtney Perna's been talking to you. You want to know about school tomorrow, so we'll get straight to it. Schools in DeSoto, Hendry, and Glades County all closed tomorrow because of Hurricane Matthew. But as of tonight, school in Charlotte, Collier, and Lee counties is on. School is on tomorrow. Lee County also telling us that after-school activities will go on as scheduled tomorrow. As for local universities and colleges, classes canceled for Florida Gulf Coast University both tonight and tomorrow. FSW campuses in Glades and Hendry counties are remained closed tomorrow, but FSW campuses in Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties will be open for classes tomorrow. Meanwhile, Lee County's Emergency Operations Center seen here partially activated. It's like emergency operations light for the next 24 hours. This is just so they can facilitate shelters that we've been showing you, like Oliko Arena, so people who come from the East Coast get the support they need, and the Lee County Operations Center is able to help facilitate that process. Again, Lee County's not in the direct path of Matthew. Still, we could experience some strong winds, some rain associated with the hurricane. Just a reminder, if you want to go to the parks in Cape Coral tomorrow, it's a little bit iffy right now. They closed early tonight at 7 o'clock. They kept the yacht club open until about 20 minutes ago, until 9:30, because they already had an event there and they wanted to accommodate that. They're going to make the call on the status of park facilities tomorrow morning. We'll let you know what they decide.
All right, as Matthew approaches the coast of Florida, we're seeing a lot of video of high waves and high surf. Despite evacuations and no surf warnings on the beach, people are still surfing. This is in Lake Worth, Florida. Derek mentioned the outer bands of the hurricane, of course, are now impacting the state of Florida. We are seeing the beginning of tropical storm force winds, and forecasters are predicting up to 100-mile-an-hour winds or stronger for the East Coast. It could be higher than that. Remember, at one point, they were 140 miles an hour. Remember, this is a Category 4 hurricane. This is no joke. This is a big storm, strong winds, and the governor said earlier, don't surf, don't go out there. But again, people are still doing that. 283 people are dead because of this storm in Haiti. That death toll is expected to rise. And don't forget, the storm has just gone through the Bahamas. It's leaving the Bahamas sometime in the very near future. And we don't know what kind of devastation we're going to see out of the Bahamas. And then obviously it's headed here to Florida. So we still have a lot to see when it comes to what Matthew's going to do. Disney World in Orlando closed early today at 5 o'clock. They actually canceled Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. If you were headed to planning to head to that, it's actually a specially ticketed event. A lot of families buy those tickets very early, excited to go, but Matthew putting a damper on that. The Category 4 storm also closing the park tomorrow. As for Saturday, though, here in Southwest Florida, we know the weather, as Derek said, is really probably going to be great. But Disney isn't saying for sure whether they're going to stay open on Saturday, so you're going to want to check for updates on that. Now, these closures for tomorrow not only affect the theme parks, you know, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, but they also affect Disney Springs, which is the downtown area, the mini golf courses, ESPN Wide World of Sports, and they are also evacuating their Fort Wilderness campgrounds. And on top of that, Universal is closing its parks tomorrow as well.
All right, we're keeping our close eye on Matthew right now, which some of the outer bands have been affecting the area through the afternoon, but we're now starting to see the outer eye wall now starting to affect parts of the East Coast, particularly over West Palm Beach. If you've been watching our streaming coverage, you probably saw Lisa Greenberg's shot just a few minutes ago, and it did indicate that she was starting to see some deteriorating conditions there, and we really don't expect things to improve there at all for the next several hours. Here's a look at Storm Shield 4 Doppler. There's the eye of the storm, and actually has a double eye wall signature here. You have the inner eye wall and then a larger outer eye wall. And again, the western edge of that is now starting to brush against the coast, so we're starting to see some of these winds picking up over here, some gusts to near hurricane force likely here over the next couple of hours. And some of these bands actually trying to wrap over Lake Okeechobee now and getting over into sections of Glades County, especially up around Buckhead Ridge. This is where we're going to start to see some of these winds picking up here over the next couple of hours. So your weather in Glades County, Highlands County, and down into sections of Hendry County around Clewiston, your weather will be going downhill steadily over the next several hours, and we really expect the worst of it right around midnight. Perhaps a little bit before that, through about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. That's where we will likely see the back edge of the system just kind of raking across the area, and that's where we could see some of those stronger wind fields and some of those stronger wind gusts. Now, the wind field is actually expanding a little bit as a result of this double eye wall structure, so the hurricane force winds actually likely going to be expanding outward a little bit more, and that may bring the potential for higher wind gusts a little bit closer to some of our counties in our viewing area as the storm pushes to the north and west. Winds right now sustained anywhere from 5 to 15 to 20 miles an hour, and we've seen some gusts upwards of 28 to 30 miles per hour, but they really haven't gotten much higher than that. So the storm continues to move northwest, just left the west edge of Grand Bahama, and it continues to motor its way towards the Florida coast. You can see the hurricane hunters, another plane about to come in and start sampling the system. We did see the pressure drop a little bit this afternoon as a result of some strengthening. We've seen the winds come down about 10 miles per hour since earlier today. It looks like as a result of that double eye wall signature, it looks like it is trying to undergo an eye wall replacement cycle, and sometimes you'll get a brief period of weakening as a result of that. And when the new eye wall starts to contract, that's when you potentially get some strengthening. So we're going to be watching for that trend now that's going over some fairly warm water here with the Gulf Stream just off the Florida coast. But the track doing the loop-de-loop right now, but we'll focus right now on the near term, and that is the potential for strong winds and life-threatening storm surge heading all the way up towards the Florida East Coast into the sections of Georgia. Latest timeline, this is going to be changing with the 11 o'clock advisory as far as the timing is concerned, or it's going to be adjusted. It's likely not going to change much, but we've got a pretty good idea of where the track is going to be now, heading up into Brevard County, or at least pretty close to it, by tomorrow morning, right around sunrise, up near the Space Coast, and then eventually heading up towards Jacksonville by tomorrow evening. Hurricane warning remains in effect. It has been dropped for Broward County, but for Palm Beach County northward, includes Okeechobee County and Lake Okeechobee. We're also looking at a tropical storm watch that continues in effect for DeSoto, Sarasota, Manatee County, and up into Hardy County, but we are looking at the counties that were under the tropical storm watch, including Lee County, Collier County, Charlotte County, have been dropped from it. So we're not anticipating sustained tropical storm force winds in extreme southwest Florida. Hurricane warning remains in effect. A tropical storm warning remains in effect, by the way, for Hardy County. Hardy County is under that, as well as Highlands, Glades, and Hendry County. And this is where we expect the strongest winds for tonight. As the wind field continues to spread inland, the yellow showing the tropical storm force winds. The hurricane force winds will gradually spread on shore, particularly into Martin and St. Lucie counties, heading up into Indian River County and Brevard County, and then that will track all the way up the coast and up I-95. And so by tomorrow morning, we're still going to have tropical storm force winds across sections of Glades County, but then conditions will gradually improve, and the wind should get a little bit lighter as we go throughout the afternoon, but it will still be breezy throughout the day Friday as the storm pulls away. Here's the latest computer model forecast here with our high-resolution model basically showing how this thing is going to behave over the next several hours. 12:30, still looking at the western eye wall, starting to brush against the Florida East Coast here. And then gradually it'll spread inland. And this is where we could start to see some of those stronger winds. If it indeed takes this wobble inward like this, we could start to see some of those stronger winds getting into some of the same areas that we're talking about in the tropical storm warning. That's why the tropical storm warning is there for those counties, because of the fact that we could see a wobble inward in the western portions of the storm. Will start increasing the winds in Highlands County, Polk County, all the way down into Glades and Hendry County. But notice how things improve throughout the morning. morning, gradually lifting northward, and things getting much better. The winds pretty much reflect that. Notice as we go through the morning hours, the winds coming more out of the southwest and then starting to lighten up as we go throughout the afternoon hours. As far as wind gusts is concerned, upwards of 40, 50, maybe even 60, 70 miles per hour for sections of Glades County here as we go throughout the morning hours, and then lighter gusts as we go farther southwest, and then by afternoon, things improving significantly across the area. So again, the worst of the weather coming in later tonight after midnight for Glades, Hendry, Highlands, and into portions of up in the Polk County as well. Guys?
And our special coverage continues right after this.